Poor Maria, everyone. A peaceful evening. Right, today I want to tell you some stories about house building. That's fairly obvious, isn't it? And I'm going to tell you two stories. One of them is part of a fairy tale, which you will know. And the other one is a story from the Bible that Jesus told. And they're fairly similar, but they're a wee bit different, and we're going to see what's different about them. So, are we ready? Right, here we go. Listen, because I'm going to ask you some questions at the end. Once upon a time, there was a mum, and she said one day to her children, come here, children. I want you to leave home now. You're big enough. I want you to go off into the world, and I want you to build your own houses. One thing to remember is build them strong, because you need to keep safe. Now, I think you know what the story is already, don't you? And so off went the three boys out into the big wide world. And the second son said, sticks are made of wood. Wood is hard. I am going to make my house out of sticks. I'm sure it will be strong enough. And the thing is, anyway, I don't want to take too long making it because, well, I want to go and have fun. I want to go and play. So I'll go look for some sticks. So he went for a look. Oh, great! Just what I needed. He found the sticks and he thought, I shall build my house here out of sticks. So he's made his house. Wow, that was a great house. It didn't take too long. It was easy. And now I could go off and play. And off he went. His brother, the third brother, said to himself, I want my house to be super strong so that I am safe. So I'm not going to use sticks, although they are fairly strong. I'm going to use bricks, yes. So he went for a look, and yes, he found some bricks. Look, I shall make my house out of bricks. Great, just what I needed. Have I got more bricks there? Let's have a look. Wow, I think I'll make my house like that. And he built hard, and he took a long time. He was super duper careful because he wanted his house to be strong so that he would be safe. Da-da, 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 da-da. Who came? Thank you. It was you-know-who. Along came the big bad wolf to the pigs' houses, which you knew it was that story, didn't you? And the big bad wolf came and he said, pork for tea, just what I need. So he came up to the houses, and you know what he said? He said, little pigs, let me come in. And they said, no, magician. And he said, then I'm going to huff, and I'm going to puff, and I'm going to blow your house in. So he got his huffer, and he got his puffer, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. Now I am going to huff and puff the other house. So off he went, and he said the same thing. I'm coming in. I'm going to huff. I'm going to puff. And I'm going to blow your house in. Huff, puff, huff, puff, puff. Oh, more huffing. Huff, puff, puff. Huff, puff, 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 puff. Oh, I am puffed out and huffed out. This jolly house, it's not going to go down. Right, question. Why did one house fall down, but not the other? Yes? Good. What was it made of? Good. So what they built it with was bricks strong stuff, wasn't it? Was this stuff strong enough? It wasn't strong enough. Okay, that's the first story. I'll ask you later, okay? Here's your next story. You ready? This is a story that Jesus told. And remember that this story is much, much older. In fact, it's probably over 2,000 years old. It's been around for a long time. And this story also is a wee bit different because the houses that Jesus is talking about in this story are not just houses. They are actually our lives. So they're houses, but really it's a picture of our lives. And Jesus said a few different things too. He said, the wise builder is the one who listens to my words and builds them into his life or his house and has a strong foundation on me. So let's see what happened in this story. So first of all, we'll start with the wise builder. The wise builder said, right, I want a strong house. I want to be safe. When the storms come, I want to be safe. I am going to make sure that I listen to Jesus' words and build. But first of all, I need a strong foundation. So he went looking for a strong foundation. Where could... Oh, here we go. This looks a bit rocky. I shall use this as my strong foundation. So he put his strong foundation up. And he's got his strong building material. And he started to build. And he said, I am going to take, before I build, I need to dig down to the bedrock, right underneath where the rock is. And I want my foundations to be rooted in the rock down underneath. So he dug, and he dug, and he dug, and he dug, and he dug. And he got his foundations nice and strong, and he was able to build with them anchored to the rock. So, let's see. And he remembered that Jesus said, my words, remember them and build them into your house, your life. So, he got his equipment and he said, time to build. Boom. Jesus said, be kind. Yes, I want to be kind. Jesus said, be a good friend. Yes, I'll build that into my life. I want to be a good friend. Jesus said, share. Be loving. Yes, I want to build that into my life. Jesus said, be patient. Be a good friend. Be lots of things. And yes, I want to build all those things into my life. And he took time, and he did it carefully, and he did a lovely job, and it looked really good. And you know how the story goes. Along came, one day, down came the rain. It came thundering down, and the rivers rose, and they flooded their banks, and they washed around his house, and the tornado roared, and woo! That house stayed steady and sure because it's built on those foundations. It was strongly built, onto the foundations. I've lost my thing here. And so it stayed up. Can I do something with that? Sorry. Seems to have... What? No? Is that all right? Okay. And it stayed up when those winds and the rain and everything else came up. And that was because he had listened to Jesus' words and he had built them into his life. A wise builder builds his life on Jesus' words and does the things that Jesus wants him to do. Right, second builder. He was foolish. He knew Jesus' words, but he didn't want to obey them. And he said, I'm going to build a house, but I want it to be fast and easy. And anyway, I know the best way to build. So he looked around and he said, oh, there's a nice flat beach. Great, a beach, sand. I shall build on the sand. It's much easier than building on rock. And so I can do this really fast and really easily. So sure enough, he got his building equipment and he said, quick, sure, easy, very fast, nice, nice, nice. And he built his house quite quick. He was done and he was pleased. And he said, that house actually looks pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that house. A bit later, down came the rain. Up came the rivers. It flooded. In blew the tornado. Woohoo! Woohoo! And it started to shake. And shake. And shake. And finally, there was an almighty crash. And my house fell down. Why? Question. Why did one house stay up and one house fall down? Yes? Okay, and so that's right. So what was wrong with this house then? Okay, did it have foundations? No. I don't think I remember that building doing anything with this, did he? He didn't do that, you're right. No foundations. Is there another reason that house fell down, not the other one? True, true. And that's why he's given us those ideas to build into our lives. Okay, there's another reason, yes? Oh, very likely. Well, that sounds a great idea. Did he think, when he was doing his building, did that second man, did he think, Jesus' words, I want them in my life, I'll be kind. Did he think that? No. Oh, so not only did he forget his foundations, he forgot to use Jesus' words to build in his life. And so his house was not strong, and it fell down very quickly, didn't it? Wow. Do you know, before we have this, I brought my house with me today. Here it is. Because if we want to build our lives, our houses, our life houses, on a foundation that's strong and the words that Jesus said, then we need to know what kind of words we need to build it on. Now there's the house, but I don't see a foundation. Oh, hang on, this looks like a foundation. Let's put the foundation up, and then let's put the house on top. Okie doke. Right, now, let's see what kind of words we could build our lives on. God says he loves you. Believe it. That's part of a good foundation for a strong and steady life. What else is there? Oh, it says if we ask Jesus to forgive the wrong things we do and the wrong things we say, then he will forgive us. That sounds a great lot of words to remember and build into our life, doesn't it? I think there's another one around here. Oh, every day ask Jesus to help us make right choices about what we do and what we say. We want to be like Jesus, so ask for his help because he wants to give it. And number 4 I thought was a good one. Thank God every day because he loves to hear us say thanks. So do our parents actually. But thankfulness is something really important, isn't it? So let's go back around here. If we want to have a life that is strong and built on Jesus' words like that, then we need to remember Jesus' words and he will help us. Now, let's see. I think it'll do. Now, these are the actions. The wise man, I'll take my hat off, built his house upon the rock. And that's repeated. The rain came down, the floods came up, and the house on the rock stood firm. The foolish man built his house on the sand. And the rain came down, floods came up, and the house fell flat. Okay, you ready to help me? So, come on. upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rains came a-tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the rock stood firm. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rains came a-tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rain came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the sand went crash. And listen to this bit. So you don't just sing it. Build your life on the Lord Jesus Christ. Good foundation. That is what we have to do. Remember Jesus' words and follow them. Ask him to help us and build our lives on the Lord Jesus Christ. Shall we pray? Do you want me to pray for the food, or somebody else going to do that? You can say, I'll pray then. Okay, and last up, here we go. Just going to pray. Just quiet for a minute. Dear Jesus, we thank you that you are a firm foundation. You give us words to live our lives by. Help us to do that. And remember the story, because you are there every day to help us. Thank you.